And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Radio Mythoverse for August the 22nd, 2020. At the beginning, you heard Back from the Dead by the Suburban Swamp Kids. They're a fantastic ska punk band from South Florida. Check them out on Spotify or on their Bandcamp at swampkids.bandcamp.com. I'll put a link to that page in the description down below the video. Hello folks, I'm Dan, Editor-in-Chief of the Mythoverse. Back at the helm for Radio Mythoverse this fine Saturday evening. I've been working remotely since the 13th of March. And as before, we show no signs of that changing until perhaps Q2 next year, if that. So we are approaching September in what Bilbo Baggins might have called the most awkward year he can remember. And there's a dog. That's not my dog. Anyway, 2020 continues to try to outdo itself as we go along. And I don't doubt it'll go down in history as the year everyone finally started to realize that maybe the simulation is getting a little bit buggy. Yeah, just a little buggy. Anyway, enough of that. This is our first official Radio Mythoverse in a while, and I prefer that we do more of these, but given how life tends to play out, we do what we can, you know? Anyway, we got a lot to talk about tonight, but first, with me tonight, as always, is Brett, the writer and creator of Changeling and Urban Fairy Tale, as well as our head of community outreach and PR. And also Matt, the writer-creator of Mythics and our lead writer. So before we get started, what's up, guys?
I'm still doing the hotel life.
Tell us about that situation, if you don't mind.
I don't recommend it.
You don't recommend it?
Oh, I don't.
Well, yeah. But hopefully it's a temporary situation, and hopefully,
And as long, both my brother and I have jobs, so we can make it so we can wait as long as we need to.
yeah, you're in a transitional period. Those are always difficult. But you guys got a fairly good situation other than that, so hopefully this won't take too much longer.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Brett is transitioning.
I guess.
He's taking.
We all support your
Yeah, he's taking. He's
Thank a lot,
canonically-
Dan.
It is canon that it is the big gay. Yes. What?
And now you've given these wackos more ammunition, Dan. Are you happy now?
No, I'm not happy. I apologize, Brett.
I
They're the
like how
ones.
you said
Yeah,
it's
well,
the
it's too
monitor.
late now. Well, it's too late. Now it's in the air, and now they're gonna run with it.
Good
Oh,
evening,
gay
everyone.
is airborne.
And congratulations, Dan, on making the only other venue where I can tolerate ska. The other, of course, being when I'm playing a Tony Hawk game.
Well, the Tony Hawk game. I mean, the first time I heard the song "Superman" by Goldfinger, fell in love with it because I was listening to it while I was doing these ridiculously impossible tricks on my skateboard, falling to my doom, bailing, and getting back up like nothing happened. So I really was Superman.
Oh man, did you hear? Have you seen anything from the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake?
I've only seen screenshots. I mean, this is a long time since I played these games, but
I am a thirsty boy.
I've been
Yeah, I would
playing.
like.
I've been playing the demo. It, like just a muscle memory. Just it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like to know if American Wasteland's gonna be getting a remaster.
What, for real?
I mean, I would like to know if that's on the table. I liked
it'd
American Wasteland.
It'd probably be more likely that the Underground games would get a sequel or a remake. I mean, that's something I like. I like to see an Underground 3 or something.
To be honest, though, if I think any game should get remastered, I want the Pipeworks Godzilla trilogy, and that includes Godzilla Unleashed with reworked controls. Because I am sorry, but that Wii focus was completely misguided.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Pipeworks games were so much fun. Just
Except for Unleashed.
even Unleashed was kind of fun for what it was.
I'm gonna die.
It was awful.
Unleashed had good ideas, Sauron. I'll give it that. But the problem was them focusing on the Wii, a game console that was not well suited to fighting game mechanics. Like I said, it was just misguided.
Let's also not forget that Godzilla Unleashed was an incredibly unfinished game.
Oh yeah, that too.
Anyway, so
Supposedly,
how do we
like-
get from ska to Godzilla Unleashed? I just found that funny.
Uh,
I was just following the train of thought, the train of this conversation as we
Kind of
went off on a tangent.
Remakes. I want a remake of that Pipeworks Godzilla trilogy. That's how.
Cool.
Well, we got here.
We'll get to the Godzilla stuff. I haven't heard from Matt yet tonight. Matt, how are you doing, Matt?
Oh, is it my turn to talk now?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was just counting the segues in that conversation. Alabaster mentioned ska, then I said, "Oh yes," then I mentioned Tony Hawk, and then we descended into oblivion. I think there were like 7 or 8 topic changes from the word ska. But anyway, Matt, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Paid out the money to Beth, so Mythic 62 will be starting production soon. If it's not already in the works.
How is Beth
And-
feeling, by the way?
She is clear of COVID.
Yay! I was waiting.
It's always a relief.
Yeah, that was
That's a relief.
a rough patch right there. I was really concerned for a while.
I had no idea she had COVID. Like,
She
No.
didn't. She
Yep.
thought she did. I think.
And
What was the situation?
just the usual
Just the
Yeah,
usual what?
illness.
Usual illness. Okay.
Yeah. Respiratory illness.
And these days, you always tend to doubt your first feeling and think, oh, I definitely have Corona-chan knocking on my door right now.
It's the goof!
Yeah.
I
Thing is,
don't.
It's the
Uh,
flu.
well, the thing is, I knew that it wasn't going to be COVID because it was about maybe 2 or 3 weeks after she started talking about the symptoms, and since she wasn't completely knocked out, like I've seen other people talk about, she was going to be fine.
Okay, well that's good. I'm glad that she's back at it, and production of Mythics number 2 is continuing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Mythics is still in demand on Indiegogo.
Yes, it is, and we just got an extra $5, I believe.
Yeah, speaking of which, I have it up here on the screen right now. So, if you missed the campaign, the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo when it was live, the cool thing about Indiegogo is when a campaign completes, if it funds, it goes into what's called in-demand mode, which turns it into essentially an online store. You can back it, which essentially means you are purchasing a product from Matt on this so-called online store. So right now we have $1,077 on the Indiegogo campaign, which is just over what we were asking for. So every little bit that you can throw at it right now in the in-demand store, it's more money for Beth, more money for Matt to develop further Mythic stuff. So if you haven't backed it and you're interested in doing so, this is the perfect time to do it. For those who haven't yet seen it, I'm going to play the promo video once more so that you can have a look at what to expect from issue 2. So one moment here. When we last left Elthea Fletcher, she had rescued a baby changeling from a coven of witches, and there were indications that there was far more to the incident than she had initially thought. The day after the arrival of Morella as backup, Elthea Fletcher is sent on another mission into Blue Creek Metro Park, this time to deal with a Spriggan stalking its grounds. Although the Spriggan does not seem like a threat, once it finds a home, it becomes malevolent to any trespassers or perceived trespassers. Elthea is apprehensive about the mission, as she has a crippling fear of Spriggans. Will Elthea master her fear? Why is there a Spriggan haunting the same park where a coven of witches tried to sacrifice a baby changeling? Do they cause the Spriggan to be there? Find out in issue 2 of Mythics by Matt Trin with art by Beth Varney. The first of the continuing stories of the Mythoverse shared comic universe. And there you have it. So, if you haven't had a chance to back the campaign, you can still do it right now. So, about how far... I'm sorry, go ahead.
How much time is left on In Demand, Matt?
It'll be up until August 31st, so about 9 more days.
9 more days. So, if you've been putting it off because, you're waiting for that paycheck to come in, or you just wanted to see how the campaign was going to unfold, you're definitely going to get it now if you back it, so check it out. So how far along is issue 2, Matt?
As of right now, we've got just 5 pages. I sent out most of the cameos to Beth. There is one I'm still waiting on.
Okay. So all in all, how many cameos do you think there are?
I hear controller.
That's me.
Oh, about 11, I'd say.
11 cameos. Holy cow. So that was a very popular feature in this campaign, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Well, then I'm glad that you included it, because that certainly went a long way to helping the project meet its goal. And that means Bethy gets a payday, and that means we get more Elthea. So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you need more help, just come to me. Like, hey.
Yes, Dylan is becoming something of a creative factory in these days, and we will
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. His output, frankly, has been, to say the least, or to put it mildly, shocking. So we will talk a little bit about that shortly. But now that we are complete with the Mythics campaign, now they will be getting. Have you sent out all the digital rewards already, Matt?
I have, yes.
Okay, great, and that includes the writer's notebook and all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay, great. So those promises have been fulfilled, and I believe everyone has received a digital copy of the omnibus.
The only thing that they did not get are the digitals for issue 2.
Well, that
That's
would
not
be a hell of a
done yet,
magic
so-
trick because, they would need a time machine to get that. But
Who says I don't have one?
precisely. So the only thing that they haven't gotten is what's not available yet. But
Yep.
that won't be much longer. Beth works pretty fast. I recall when I commissioned a sketch of her to do a young Adobe Kroger flipping off the viewer. I think it took her 2 hours, and it was a good sketch. Obviously she did it fast, but she's definitely got that talent. And she's
He has a very efficient style.
very efficient. Yeah, it's almost like an elaborate gesture drawing. Like I can see her being very good at gesture drawings. Like she really gets the essence of the character like down on the screen or paper very quickly. I would like to see a time lapse of her drawing a Mythics page. Do you think that would be something she could do?
Yeah, I think she could.
Yeah, ask if it's feasible for her to record her doing a page. I would love to see it come together.
No problem.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really cool thing to put on like a future campaign or on the Patreon or something. That'd be great.
I like how she creates mood. It kind of reminds me of Batman Year One. Let me see. I have this over here. Let me see if I can remember who did that.
That was David Mazzucchelli.
Right.
Very, very cool. So, Mythics is on its way. And that means what's next for the Mythoverse now? Like, as I mentioned in the promo tweet for tonight's stream, as it turns out, quite a hell of a lot. We've been very, very busy over here, both on our day jobs and on our preferred jobs, which is the Mythoverse. But anyway, what's coming up next is the Changeling campaign for Changeling issue 2. So, I would like to take a moment to talk about a really exciting contest that we've put out on the internet over the last couple of weeks on Twitter and Instagram. Brett had the idea of.
Well, no, I didn't have the idea. This was all Ginger's idea.
Oh, jeez. Then what good are you? All right. Okay. So Ginger had the idea to put out this fantastically adorable, colorful, and lively drawing of Maeve holding a pixie, a glowing green pixie in her hands. And she suggested to Brett, hey, why don't we do a draw this in your style contest? So Brett comes to me and says, what do you think of this? I said, that's fantastic. I love that drawing. And Brett asks me, like, what do you think should be the prize? And I throw out a couple of ideas, and one of which is, why don't we take the winning drawing and make it an exclusive one-of-a-kind variant? And Brett liked the idea, and we ran with it. So, I have up here on the screen right now, there is a hashtag capital DTIYS Maeve, okay? And if you go to that on Twitter, you'll see a number of entries from some pretty talented folks. And I'd like to start sharing them with you so you can get an idea of what we have coming up the pipeline. So this is the drawing itself. This is the Victor penciled and Ginger colored panel that it's based on. As you can see, it's beautiful. Like, Maeve is exquisitely rendered here. She's holding this pixie, and there's a translucency to the pixie that's wonderful and creates a very magical atmosphere. There's all these little, I guess they would be will-o-wisps floating around, some crystals. Now this is right after she enters the Fey Realm, correct?
It's more like on the way.
On the way to the Fey Realm, okay. So it's not quite the Fey Realm, but it's nearly there. So anyway, this is a moment in Changeling issue 2, and it's a panel that really exemplifies the atmosphere of the book, the character of Maeve, and what we can expect to have her encounter in the adventure that she's going on now. So here are some artists that have answered the call and have drawn this in their style. This first one right here is one of my favorites, Illustrator Monk. And I'm a huge fan of his work. He's done a lot of really good things. He drew the Magical Girl Adobe wall scroll that I have hanging on my wall right now. And huge fan of him. This is his version of that drawing. So as you can see, it's got a similar style. The pose is obviously there. He added a little pixie up here. He recreated the crystals and little wisps. And I really like this one. Maeve looks a little bit more mature in this one, but still great. He has a really good sense of dynamic lighting and atmosphere. And he put like a greenish tint over it too, kind of like giving it that otherworldly feel. What do you think of this one, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I can kind of see what you mean by she looks older. I think that's just something getting lost. That's just something getting lost in his style, which that's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah, you can tell that's Maeve, and you can tell it's the same picture. And he put his own stamp on it. Okay. Okay, and this one is by Mina. This is adorable. I love this one. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, you should note the description Mina put in the tweet.
Hope you don't mind. I
She
drew a
wanted
fairy
them-
like Navi from Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I see.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Hey, listen.
Oh.
Listen, bitch.
No.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, listen.
Maeve is adorable in this one.
No, you know what? I challenge to find anyone who unironically liked Navi to come forth and expose themselves. If you unironically, you unironically liked Navi, Alabaster?
I did until the 3DS remake, when she reminded me every hour or so, hey, you need to get outside and get exercise because playing video games too long is bad for you. And I'm like, bitch, the reason I bought this game is largely because I play too much video games. So
You don't get
stop.
it. That's the point.
You don't tell me what to do!
Hey, you should go outside. Sitting around and playing video games for too long is detrimental to your health.
It's Skynet all over again.
Yeah, that. So anyway, moving on from Navi before we fall down another hole here. So the next one is user Amon Strange PhD. I do plan on coloring this. I don't know if there's a colored version.
He did. There is. You gotta just scroll down a little bit.
All right. Well, then I'll come back to that because I don't want to skip over anybody else's. So here is Jacob K. Gratchik's version of it. So that's a different take, but maintain the translucency on the pixie and the little crystal. She definitely looks like she's experiencing a happy moment. That one's really cute. Here's Slim Daddy's one. This one looks like it was done traditionally, so it kind of sets it apart.
Yeah. Slim doesn't do digital art as far as I know.
Slim actually does have some stuff with that he can make digital art with. However, he is still trying to learn how to transfer his style to the tablets and such.
I'm
sorry, didn't mean to jump in there. I'm just because I've actually had Slim has actually gifted me, and I've actually commissioned him with traditional and tablet art before. And you can definitely tell that he is trying to work his way around that. And it's, like you said, it's a big learning curve. But thankfully, the more and more he works with it, you can definitely see that he has improved greatly since he had first bought his tablet.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to seeing his progress there. I forgot to say hello to Neostar, who hopped in the chat and did his thing. Good to have you as always, Neostar. Okay. And now Xeno does his version of it, as only Xeno can. If I recall, Xeno's Adobe Kroger shot was very, very interesting indeed. And this kind of he's unique. He has It's hard to duplicate Zeno. I mean, he definitely does his thing, and he's definitely an individual. Let's put it that way.
Honestly, I have to say, I love his art most of all. It's one of my favorite styles that I've seen, at least in recent times.
It's distinct. You can tell a Zeno drawing. That's one of the things that make it stand out.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like, I think, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like he's got an artistic signature.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take that from him.
Yeah, very few artists can say that. Like, I know, like Luigi Terrell of the Rags team has, like, I can spot his art a mile away. He's got a very distinct style. Yeah, Lenore is the same way, and there are a couple others, but Zeno has definitely got his own signature, as you said. So, let me see if there's anything more on Twitter here. Okay, so here is JD Kamakotaku. I think this one was just submitted yesterday.
I think so too.
Yep. So there we go. There's his version.
I've got one that I'm not on Twitter, but
yeah, I definitely will get to yours, because I think yours is probably, I'm a bit biased, but I think it's my favorite, right next to Illustrator Monk so far. But it's not my decision to make. This is Brett's contest. So let me see.
Yeah, yeah. In case anyone's wondering, this is up till the end of August, and the 31st. I need to get some dates straight, just so I'm not lost.
No problem. Oh, so here is the
okay. The 31st is a Monday, and yeah, so the judging, the judging will be done by me and Ginger on September 5th. That's for Radio Mythoverse that week.
Nice. Okay, so here is the like you said, there is a colored version of Armand Strange PhD's one, and there it is. I like that. I really do like that. He definitely understands how lighting works. That's very nice.
Oh yeah.
I love that you see there's a shadow cast by her neck here, but there's also light coming on the tip of her chin from the pixie, and he kind of saturated the black on her hoodie here with the green, so that looks natural. And the crystal here, the crystal seems to be a recurring theme in the background, and he did a good job on the wisps here with the transparency. Above all, this is definitely very recognizably Maeve, and it's the same picture, obviously, so good job. Now, I think those are all the entries that were specific to Twitter. Like Dylan said, he's not on Twitter, but he did submit one too, and I'm going to track that down in a moment. I have that saved.
it's on
I'm sorry, what?
Fan Art
Gallery?
It's in,
all right.
yeah, you can.
Okay, so I'll get that ready, but first I'm going to hop over to our Instagram, and we had about 5 entries over there so far that were tagged properly. So we'll start with this one. Now, as far as I understand it, what we did was we ran a promo on the contest, and we got literally, I think, 200 or 300 new followers from it, and a very enthusiastic response from a lot of folks that have never seen or heard of us before. So, very fruitful. So here's one from Big Tart. That's the name of the user. And looks like he made a Maeve in the style of Toriyama.
It's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Toriyama is another one of those artists that is very easy to spot. When someone is doing something in the style of Toriyama, it's very hard to miss it. Okay, so here is one from Instagram user ButterRapple64. Reverse the angle, but you can still see it's very much so the image. And did he really draw this with his finger? Wow.
That's what he says.
Oh yeah,
that's what he says.
It's tagged. I do this with my finger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Okay, moving on to this one. This is from Instagram user Evie Swirlv, and this is also, I drew this with my finger. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, for drawing with the finger, that's not too shabby. Okay, moving on over here to the next one. This here is Lobo Gatozilla. Okay, this is yeah, this is not drawn with the finger, or at least it's not tagged as such. Okay. And this is Sailman 360. Looks like it's drawn traditionally. And yeah, so these, I think all of these users are users that just saw the contest and came to discover the Mythoverse through it. So I think it was a very good idea to run this contest. We've brought in fresh eyes on the work, and they were enthusiastic enough to participate. So pretty damn cool. So let me go over to the fan art gallery and grab Dylan's.
Which is also done by finger.
You did that with your finger?
Everything I draw is done with my finger, including the everything, you know.
Everything.
I was about to say, like, there's a way you can phrase that. I was hoping you didn't.
I didn't need to hear that.
Whoa.
You think I'm some kind of pervert?
Okay.
All right, so there's Dylan's entry.
Okay, who's got birds in the background?
What kind of birds?
The ones that fly.
Alright, so
That
that
narrows
rules
it
out
down?
the moon.
Who else is hearing birds but me?
All right, so whatever that was all about. Here is Dylan's entry. I really love this one. Maeve looks, you know, her age, and the pixie is right there. It's giving off all the nice light. Here's where the crystal would be, but it's blurred. All that stuff.
Yeah, I tried to blur the background, tried to put focus on Maeve. Plus, you know,
It's a shallow focus, like it's a film technique. Looks great.
And I did it to cheats because I'm terrible at backgrounds.
Hey, that's fine. You'd be astonished how much of your favorite artists do the same thing.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah. Well, if you can't win fairly, cheat. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, so that's what we got as far as entries so far. So there's been a big response from it. So you and Ginger are going to have a lot of judging to do, and some. Hopefully, the winner will get a one-of-a-kind variant of Changeling issue 2 with this on the cover, and we will only ever make one. So if you lose it, too bad. So love it and treasure it. So anyway, so that's where Changeling is. So that's where Changeling is in a pretty cool place. We're drumming up some hype, some enthusiasm, and I think we're doing a good job with that.
Yeah, but I continue to keep getting updates from Rolf, Victor, and Ginger, and you know, they're doing all right. And I can definitely say that at this point, it's 99% paid for, and more like 95% paid for. So altogether, even if I can't pull up the cash myself, it's like less than $1,000, like just under $1,000. However, needs to be funded.
Cool. Oh wait, there was one that I missed. This was in the Discord. Let me go back to it.
Is it? Was it bunnies?
Did I not show bunnies?
You did not show bunnies.
Oh, okay. Well, while I dig up bunnies, look at this one. This one was by, I believe, a friend of Dylan's, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know if she was done coloring that one, but
That's the only one I could find.
I think she's still working on it, but
Okay. Well,
yeah,
I can tell it's gonna be adorable. So, hope she doesn't mind that I showed it in progress.
I also embarrassed myself by posting my in progress one.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about. They're all great. So, let me see. Would bunnies be in the completed art channel?
Probably. Yeah, it would be.
All right.
You can narrow the search down just by looking for images.
Yep.
later.
What?
There's a lot of adult Maven here.
I believe that can go for pretty much any of the Mythoverse girls and the server in general.
There's also the one Jonah did.
We are a collective of very sophisticated gentlemen. Very sophisticated.
Extraordinary gentlemen.
Yeah, we also have the one Forrester.
Oh
did.
yeah, Jonah. Yeah, let me get that one up here real quick.
Some would call us a league.
Here's
People
Bunny.
would be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a top hat.
Okay.
And a gun.
I have Jenny's
Dan.
up there. What's up?
Dan, did you find Bunny's yet? I found it.
No, go ahead and send it to me.
Alright, I'll send you that and Forrester's.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have Forrester's up on the screen right now. And Forrester added the trade dress too. Is that like a subtle hint that you're trying to program us to use this one? Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Well,
That's all conspiracy by the 1%.
Well, I like this one. The pixie is kind of front and center in this one, so he kind of shifted up the perspective to kind of foreshorten it a little bit. Because in a way that makes sense, because that is sort of the focal point of Maeve's gaze, and she's like looking at this wondrous new thing in front of her, and maybe it's a way of inviting the reader in to experience that wonder at the same time.
He said he did it because he wanted it to be like a cover.
Gotcha. Okay.
It does. I mean, it does. He definitely pulled that up. It looks like a cover.
Yeah, it definitely does. And here's bunnies. Okay, so there you have it. A huge response to this contest, and I'm really excited that all the hype is building up for Changeling Issue 2, and production looks like it's well underway. And we're seeing new work from Victor all the time. Brett is sharing like his layout pages, and whenever he gets new pages in, he lets everyone in the Discord have a peek. So it's definitely going to be a good one. So with all that said, we also have on the Patreon we have short comics. We've had a couple of them so far. One of them was Elthia themed, and that was Maria, the story of a young Elthia, and her moment of realization that it's okay that she was adopted. You know, family is where your heart is. And then we had a short featuring Maeve, where we learn a little bit about her damaged psyche and how her mother deals with it. So those were both drawn by Dylan. It's called what?
It's called Not Like Others.
Not Like Others, yeah. And we get a little slice of young Maeve in kindergarten, and how her teacher was a little bit concerned about what she was seeing when she was asked to draw her dream. So that's a heart-wrenching little episode, and that's also available to anyone that supports our Patreon at $5 or higher. What's that?
It's definitely a story that gets at you if you have kids.
Yeah, because all parents want to be able to say that they can help their child when needed, but every now and then you get into some situation where you just feel helpless and you aren't sure what you should do, and you're worried that if you do anything, it might just make things worse, and it's like, oops, permanent damage there. Can't undo that. And that's a constant anxiety that new parents have, especially when it's their first young child, and you aren't sure exactly what you should be doing. By your third, who cares? You know, whatever. So
at that point, it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, I hope my 2-year-old did not hear that, because I was kidding. I do care very much.
Unless you're my dad, in which case you're relieved when both the children are finally out of the house.
Well, then that's a job well done. You know, you did it. You made a new person, and now they're out into the world, and now everyone can see what the world would be like if you were in charge of making all the kids. God help us. Okay. So yeah, so we got Changeling number 2 coming up. We got short stories on the Patreon, and I'm very excited. Dylan has just been churning out pages on this Dobie Kroger one shot. I believe he just turned in page 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How many are left to go?
There's 22, so he has 6 more to go. This was basically, I saw Dylan's work on his short stories for, he did a short mythic story for an anthology called Corona Kings, called Recounting the Vampire. And it was Althea in quarantine, entering a log into her journal about an old mission that she had undertaken when she was younger, about taking down a powerful vampire. And that looked really good. And then I saw his Maria short story, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this guy's really got some hustle, and he's really improving, and he's churning stuff out. So let me get him a script. And I had intended to make it short, but as he began turning in pages, I was thinking, this deserves to be a full-length comic. So we worked that out. I worked the script into 22 pages, and it will be made available as soon as he finishes it. Don't stress, though. I mean, people will get it when they get it. But next month, I will offer it up digitally. And to people who support us on Patreon or Subscribe Star at the appropriate levels, they will get a print version of it. And this story is called Dropping Out. And it's a episode in Dobie Kroger's life when she was 16 years old that she references in A Dobie Kroger Knight Errant, the novel, where she goes into withdrawal and finally snaps. She was a heroin addict at the time, and as she calls it, she was dropping out of her escape from herself, which was the high she experienced, obviously. And we meet her at the beginning of the story when she drops out, goes into withdrawal, and the worst possible night of her life takes place. And the events of this night, while very, very dire and drastically terrible and dark and ugly, start her on the path to redemption. So there's at least that.
Yeah, that's how I kind of described the book when I was talking about it. I'm like, this is an ugly story about a horrible person, but the silver lining is that she spends the rest of her life trying to redeem herself.
Yeah, she does come off horrible. Spoiler alert, she does come off very bad. But the more you know about Adobe and her experiences, it literally was bound to happen sooner or later. Like, her brain had a bomb in it that was waiting to go off since she was 11, and it just finally did at the worst possible time.
I'll just say, if Saul was good enough for God, Adobe's good enough for anyone else.
Yeah, and she does find her way to the light eventually. It's just a long, hard road, but when she finally does get there, it's definitely going to feel earned. So, and this story kind of kicks all that off because she does describe it briefly in the novel, but Dylan's artwork really brings it to very stark and ugly life. Let's put it like that. He's kind of like, I set him free to stylize the book as he chooses. I just gave him, like, this is what's happening, this is what she's saying, and this is roughly the number of panels I want on the page. But in terms of how it looks, Dylan's been given free reign, and I think the result's going to be something special. So what we're seeing here is someone really, yeah, this is someone really showing us what he can do, and that's what I was hoping to accomplish with this project. So, really looking forward to showing this off.
It's really inspired because, like, about the only point of reference I got for, like, how tripping on heroin is depicted is, has anyone ever seen Trainspotting?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, if you've seen Trainspotting, then you probably know that scene in the movie where Ian McGregor's character, he goes to get a hit of heroin, and while he's tripping on it, he's sinking. He's sinking through the floor, and I've actually heard that's what being high off heroin feels like you're just sinking.
Yeah, you're basically literally dropping out. So the title kind of has several different meanings. Like Adobe refers to it as losing her high, thus being forced to be herself, which is something she cannot bear to be. And when her high finally kicks in, she does describe herself as sinking into an ocean, and she's surrounded by white noise, and she doesn't even know what's really happening. So,
that's kind of why Dylan's interpretation is so good, because it's like I said, I would have expected something out of Trainspotting, but instead he makes this really abstract and surreal nightmare.
yep. Yeah, Adobe.
It's not just
Adobe
it's not just trippy. It's not just trippy. It's scary.
Yeah, it's frightening, and that's exactly the tone I was going for. Like, this was the night that simultaneously ruined her life and saved it. So it had to be very, very dark, but at the end, a little bit hopeful, I hope. So.
Yeah. I mean, without showing or saying anything, like I just turned in page 16, and that's when she stopped seeing people as, you see, like, the people around her, they no longer like look like people. They look more like shadows and apparitions, not like apparitions, but
Yeah, she's disassociating completely. That's what heroin does to you. And that's why Adobe needs it so much, because she has to disassociate. She can't bear her own life and her own self, so that's why she uses it. Yeah, so fantastic work, Dylan. Definitely going to be a highlight of the next month for me, especially. I can't wait to show this off and brag on you. So you've done a great job here. So that is one thing that we are doing. We have another thing that I wanted to announce, but I decided we'll probably do that next week when we have a little bit more, when it's been a little bit more further along. So we have this project, the short comics, something that I'm going to talk about next week. And of course, Adobe Kroger number 2 is well on its way. This is going to be a hell of an issue, because I packed 40 pages into it this time. I'm kind of going all out for this one. 40 pages of story, drawn by Leandro. We're going to see the action and body count escalate. We're going to learn a little bit more about Adobe herself and her relationship with Casey Crum and Reese Connolly. And it will leave off at a very interesting place. So I can't wait to show you guys that. I don't want to talk too much more about it, because I think I'm waiting on one specific thing to get done before I start really hyping it up. And hopefully I'll have that next week, if not the week after. So
yeah, I think the thing about your writing in particular is that when I was reading, the first issue, it was like oh my god, I want to see what happens next. Like, come on.
That was the biggest piece of feedback I got, was that it was too short and ended on a cliffhanger. So I'm trying to avoid that in issue 2.
If you leave readers wanting more, you're doing something right.
I understand that, but I also don't want the readers to feel like
blue balls.
Yeah, exactly. I want them to have a satisfaction when they're done. Exactly.
Okay, but I will say, like you spent a few minutes talking about me. I might as well say something about your writing and your stuff. I listened to the entire audio novel, Adobe Kroger Night Errant, and honestly, it is like a complete story. You really feel that Adobe has learned from this experience. She's grown somewhat as a character. She's it hits all the right beats, the right story beats, and honestly, I cannot wait. I just love seeing I mean, not just her. I mean, I love seeing the Mythoverse, but I am particularly interested in this character that's really, really fucked up. But honestly, redemption stories are my favorite form of storytelling, and having a character whose entire existence is about becoming better and overcoming things, I think that is something that's very appealing and something I think comic books and stories in general like deserve like they need more of that.
Well, thank you very much, Dylan. That's I very much appreciate that, and I agree. I think one of the reasons I gravitated towards like classic Spider-Man was because his whole life is a redemption story.
Exactly.
Like he was a complete dick, and at the start of the story, like people always came to think that Peter Parker was this put-upon outcast nerd, but he was really an asshole, and he kind of, when he got the powers, he was like, oh, I'm so awesome. I'm going to go do all this stuff to benefit myself. And of course, we all know what happened then. And when he learned that it was his selfishness and self-absorption that killed his uncle, then he realized he'd devote his entire life to undoing that mistake. And I think...
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So that's why I identified so much with Peter, was that he made a mistake, but he realized how bad the mistake was, and you can't go back and fix it. You know, it's done, it's over with. But he devoted his entire life to making sure something like that would never happen again if he could do anything about it. So, like that, like Adobe has a very similar arc in that. Well, first of all, without saying too much, I mean, she did suffer quite a bit growing up, and she didn't know how to process that emotionally, and a lot of her coping mechanisms were completely misguided and wrong, and she ended up, you know, burning down a lot of good things in her life because she didn't know how else to do it. And as she grew and matured, and as she got her chance, you know, she began to work back towards what she always wanted, which was to lead a life in the light. And that's why when you asked me, like, what song would she use to best exemplify, like, her moral journey at the end of her life, and that would be Running to the Light by Runrig. If you haven't heard that song, go check it out. It's fantastic. And there's one line in particular that that exemplifies her entire life's journey, and it's in that song. So go listen to it. It's fantastic. Love it. I love the band, too.
Yeah. You know, I have a feeling that if there's anyone in the Bible Adobe identifies with strongly, it's definitely going to be Paul.
Probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
like anyone who knows his story, like he started out as arguably the worst possible person he could have been, but even God was able to find a use for him.
Yeah, and that was kind of, without spoiling too much, the closing of Dropping Out hints at that. Adobe doesn't really see it yet, but it is hinted at. So, like I said, dark story, but you know, there's some hope in it, as long as you know where to look.